If you're a longtime viewer or listener to Washington Watch, you may recall our coverage of a local church in San Jose, California. They faced tremendous persecution while they were trying to weather literally their state as well as local government's onerous COVID-19 lockdown policies. We were seeing this type of thing all across the country, but it seemed to zero in on Calvary Chapel San Jose. In fact, they won a myriad of appeal cases during that period of time. But now the church has issued a new petition to overturn a heavy fine that was imposed on them during those lockdowns. And here to discuss this case is Robert Tyler. He's the president and chief counsel of Advocates for Faith and Freedom. And he currently represents Calvary Chapel's senior pastor, Mike McClure. Bob, welcome to Washington Watch. Great to have you joining us.
Great to be with you again. Thank you.
Okay, so let's, if you would, break down for us the initial details of this case regarding Calvary Chapel. Why was this church targeted? What was the deal here?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because that really is the crux of the scenario we sit in today. Look, we're in California, and one of the reasons why we exist as Advocates for Faith and Freedom, and we're focused here in California to a large degree, is because I've been saying this for 25 years, that what comes out of California gets exported to the rest of the country. And COVID was no different. It's important to know when and where did the COVID lockdowns in the United States begin. They began in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is Santa Clara County, California. Santa Clara County is the one who issued close to $4 million in fines to Calvary Chapel San Jose, our client, Pastor Mike McClure, who is he and his church stuck it out with tenacity and courage. And so in Santa Clara County, when you look back and see, they are the ones who started the lockdowns before California started the lockdowns, before any other county or state started the lockdowns, before President Trump issued lockdowns nationwide. It started with a gentleman an attorney named James Williams, who it appears went to his medical officer and said, we need to shut everything down. A lawyer making that kind of a decision. And I don't have any belief that it was actually the medical director for the county who made the decision. It was him, in my view. And so he got a lawyer who was, there's a foundation called the George and Daisy Soros Foundation. And if you recognize that name, my understanding is he's George Soros's brother. Well, apparently they funded about $90,000 to Mr. James William to go to law school in the first place. And then he gets into the county, and next thing you know, we have these lockdowns after he rises in the ranks and becomes the senior counsel for the county counsel's office in Santa Clara County. There's a lot behind this, and you go back and you take a look at who benefited the most out of COVID-19 from a financial perspective. I believe it was Silicon Valley. Probably not even the pharmaceuticals, but I don't know. Between the pharmaceutical industry and Silicon Valley, with consider all of the technology, Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. Bottom line is,
so let me ask you this. Yeah, let me ask you this, because we've only got a couple of minutes here. But now there's another petition. The church is trying to get back horrendous fines that were put against him. But this case as a whole, why is it so important, not only to Calvary Chapel, but across the whole? As you said, what starts in California tends to spread across the country. So do you think the church is going to get their money back? And why is this such an important case?
Well, the church hasn't paid any money to the county at this point in time. This is important because how in the world can it be lawful that a church who stands up on their constitutional principles and is right constitutionally and legally can be fined $1.2 million. Now, we did get it knocked down. I mean, it's about 25% of what they were originally trying to get. At this point in time, the fines are about a face mask. Can you force a church, a pastor, to require that people who come into church wear a face mask when they allow all sorts of other exemptions to the rule, allow people who are working in industry, government contractors who can decide, well, I'm not going to wear a face mask because it might inhibit my work. Well, Pastor Mike McClure sincerely looks at this and says, for me to stand there behind a pulpit and to preach with a mask on, or to go pray with someone who's dying of cancer, not be willing to take my mask off so they can see my face and my emotions, that inhibits my sincere responsibility as a pastor to minister to people. When we were told in California that you couldn't touch someone, you had to stay 6 feet apart. It was just wild. You couldn't do baptisms. You couldn't give communion. This is a case that really stands, I believe, in the long run for how far the courts are going to permit a local government in restricting religious worship.
Absolutely. I want to thank you so much, Robert Tyler, President and Chief Counsel at Advocates for Faith and Freedom, for standing in the gap, not only for Calvary Chapel, but for all of us across the country for religious freedoms. Bob Tyler, thank you so much. God bless you.